Lucky Boys Podcast.
You know, when we're raised, we'll look, hey, get the money, get the bag, get the bag.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually you get the bag, you go, damn, it's not what I thought it was, and I still feel like I'm broke somewhat, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know millionaires that say they feel like they're broke.
Something's missing.
Yeah, they're not just trying to be braggadocious.
You know
they
why?
really
Because
mean
they
it.
compare themselves with bigger money. That's why.
That
you could be worth...
Or most of their money may be tied up.
Yes.
Maybe it's equity in their home.
It's
right?
not liquid. Something.
Yeah, or
it's
maybe
not
it's in
liquid.
maybe
Yes.
they're 401k millionaires.
Rich to rich people, rich is liquidity. It's how much in one fucking day you could just write a check for, right? Liquid, like I talked to Norm earlier about startups, right? And how people cash out and get liquidity. So one thing I mentioned was, for example, I'm invested in Airbnb, right? Airbnb, the reason why funds get created to buy out shareholders. The shareholders or the workers have been in this company for 6, 7, 8 years, and they're making $100,000 a year, but they have $10 million in stock. For that 6 to 10 years, they never had a liquidity event, and they're willing now to sell their equity so they could buy a home finally for their kids. They could buy a Ferrari.
Why don't they
want.
just borrow it against themselves so that they don't have to pay taxes?
No, it's
That's-
equity.
That's how
yeah.
most of the rich people do it.
Yeah,
Right.
but most of them don't look at it like that. They look at, I have $10 million of stock, I'm just gonna sell
So
it.
that's a
Sell
major
some.
tax bill, man.
Yeah, exactly. So
Sheesh, $10 million.
so there's funds that come in, buy it, and then they get some liquidity. They get an event. So a lot of these startups, most employees don't have the liquidity, and they want to enjoy life, but they committed themselves into this company like all in.
What are your thoughts on leveraging credit?
It depends. It just depends on your situation, right? Like if you're, let's say you own a piece of property and...
Let me just draw this
Okay.
out. Like, you have the liquidity, you have the capital.
yeah.
Do you use that, or do you see if you can use credit, somebody else's money, but at an interest rate?
Yeah. So I'm kind of half and half on this. If you have the liquidity, you should use some of it. But people look at inflation too, right? The dollar now is not going to be the same in 10 years. So they're like, let me borrow it now because later it's going to be devalued anyway, right? So half and half says, sure, I think you should pay it if you have the liquidity. But the other half is if you're going to get, free money essentially to leverage that and to build something else or do, you should take that, because why worry about it now? Just you're getting,
Especially at today's interest rate.
yes, exactly. So it's half and half. Again, it just goes.
If you have it, you have it. Spend it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or-
It just depends on the situation, what you're like buying or what you're building a new company. It's just the risk factors, right?
Right. People that I speak with, or people that own companies, they tell me credit is powerful.
Of course.
Is extremely powerful, and that knowing that they have a great relationship with their bank or several banks, that if they see something, a great opportunity, they can just snap their fingers, make a quick phone call, boom, and it's done. When they told me cash, you do want to keep it, but you want to focus on the credit portion.
Yeah, I think historically with real estate, you're able to leverage that. But then there'll be moments like what happened in 2008 where you're fucking destroyed. So it's just rare to ever have those moments. For example, like COVID, all the restaurants were booming, tourism amazing, everyone's flying all over the world, right? Bam, everything stops. You have the hottest restaurant and now you're fucked. Now you have to close doors, you're in debt. So there's the risk factors. You don't think it could ever happen,
So true.
but if that happens, the worst
point.
case scenario happens, you're wiped. You're all in and you're wiped. So this is where the credit. So if you're highly leveraged with credit, you're wiped.
You're
and
done.
then now you're owing for the next 10 years versus had I used some of that and not taking the credit, maybe I could survive.
Right.
Like I'm out of debt in 2 years versus 10 years, So it's just risk factors. And if you have the liquidity, sometimes, again, I'm 50-50 on this. You know, if you're feeling risky, you take the credit. If you have liquidity, do maybe half and half or something.
Fair.
Because you need liquidity for a dark and stormy night. That's how I feel. Because anything could happen, right? You never know.
Lucky Boys Podcast.